7:54. Ken Lujan from the Small Business Administration joining us in the KUAM News Zoom room. Morning, Ken.
Morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning.
So you're going to be a busy guy. Or I know you're always busy, though.
It started out this weekend.
So we're starting up. We have EIDL and PPP, right?
PPP.
This is one of my favorite acronyms of the pandemic, PPP. Paycheck Protection Program. So what was the response? What's the response been like so far, Ken, with businesses trying to get on this PPP?
Well, it's beginning to ramp up somewhat. What I can do is kind of talk about the EIDL first, beginning with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. As a result of the COVID-19 relief bill that was passed by Congress and enacted by the President in this last week, December 27th, it often opened up a lot of more opportunities for businesses to obtain financial assistance through the SBA's EIDL as well as the PPP program. The EIDL program expired in December 31st, 2020, but now as a result of this new law, it now has been extended for another year. So it expires in December 31st, 2021. So that's good relief, good information for the community. They can still avail themselves of the disaster relief program that SBA has. As of today, we've lent to a total of 2,851 businesses who received about $84.7 million from SBA financing to the EIDL loan program, which is a lot of money that was filtered into the island community here in Guam. In addition to that, it also allowed the extension of the deferment period. So if people are still having difficult times making their loan payments to the existing SBA disaster business and home loans, their loans are now deferred up to March 31st. So they don't necessarily have to pay their loan until March 31st. However, if they need to realize that interest still accumulates on their loan program. So therefore, what we're trying to do is to advise them to, if they have the means to pay their loan, do so to avoid any balloon payment towards the end of the maturity. So, but at this point in time, we're giving them a 3-month relief by deferring their loan payments up to March 31st of this year. So that's with the EIDL program. Another change within that program is that in the event that a business were to have received an EIDL advance money, which were considered grant monies, the SBA took that portion off of they minus that off of the PPP amounts. And so it's calculated in the sense that that was going to go against the businesses. But now as a result of this new law, we're going to reconsolidate the amount and actually pay back the banks for that. So in essence, that $10,000 that they received in advance monies will now go towards their benefit too as well. So that's a good thing with what's happening in this program.
As we start to kind of pivot towards recovery and obviously we had some restrictions that were eased last month and we're anticipating going into PCOR 2. Do you feel that there's going to be a decrease in the number of businesses that are applying for these programs? If not, or if so, why?
Not certain yet, because one of the things that this program now, as a result of the new act that's coming about, it's expanded the PPP program to allow industries such as the hotel industry, the food industry, the bar industries, those particular industries and food services, to allow them the opportunities to get a second draw on these funds, and at the same time to increase their dollar amounts that they need as a result of the pandemic effect. So that would probably encourage these food services industries, hotel industries to avail themselves of the second draw of monies that they can probably get from the SBA. So we're looking at targeting those particular industries because those are the singular industries that have been adversely affected by the pandemic.
What about fraud?
We're always going to have that out there, Chris. We're trying to prevent that as well, and we're putting the monitoring monitoring mechanisms within place within the program to try to avoid that. which is why we're specifically looking at targeting certain industries within the market, within the business community, so that way we can help them the most.
Right. I think when we interviewed you last time, you were mentioning there were some fraud incidents that may have occurred with the programs. What is the update on those investigations?
That's what I meant.
Well, a lot of them are still ongoing. Some of them have been prosecuted. I'm not sure if the ones in Guam have been prosecuted. I haven't heard too much about it. But the news I've been reading lately back in the mainland is that it's been curtailed to a point where people are now looking at this a little bit closely and saying that there are some systems in place to go after those who actually defraud the government. So it's tempered down somewhat, but of course, you're always going to be looking at the sophisticated fraud scammers that are going to try their luck and try and get additional funds from the government.
For people who took advantage of the PPP and the EIDL in the first round, and maybe you already covered this, the first time the program was offered in CARES 1, are they eligible to apply for this second round?
For round 2, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep in mind that round 2 for the EIDL it's available up to December 31st of this year, and round 2 of the PPP program is only available up to March 31st of this year, which doesn't give you that much big of a window that you can apply for, but it is available.
Are there any
portal for the lending portal does not open until January 11th, which is their time tomorrow. So at this point in time, this gives our lenders here the opportunity to get their ducks in a row, get their systems in place, so that way once the portal opens, then lending can start flowing through the lending institutions. So January 11th is the date that the actual lending portal opens, and we can start issuing out loans at that point in time.
Have you had to bring on like additional staff to, or even previously, to help deal with the overwhelming amount of businesses that we're trying to get on these programs?
Yeah, you're going to have to augment some of the resources over there to try to help out. We don't know what that amount of work is going to be at this point in time, but it does provide some sort of aid again back to the community that it was desperately needed. The business community were yelling and screaming and asking for additional relief, and that's where Congress got together and they provided this relief act that would allow for more opportunities for businesses to start getting to. As a matter of fact, in the previous PPP, eligibility for local newspapers and television and radio stations such as yourself was not afforded your opportunity. This go around with new PPP regulations, it now allows TVs, local newspapers and radio stations to become eligible for the program. So this gives you folks an opportunity to look into this as well.
We'll be sure to pass that along to our bosses.
Right.
Yeah. You pass it along to them.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Anything else
Ken?
that businesses need to know?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start doing a little bit more outreach sometime this week and the next week after that. I mean, the legislation just came out over the weekend. A lot of the guidelines are still flowing through, so we're going to have to kind of sort through these guidelines and try to see, kind of make heads or tails as to which, what would be beneficial to the island, what would be beneficial to small businesses out there. So as we kind of sort through the guidelines and the regulations, we do encourage the small business community to start, looking at the opportunities that are afforded to them, get their documents together, and then also talk to their local lenders that they deal with, so that way they can start moving a lot of the information towards them in hopes of getting the financial assistance that they need.
Someone just commented, how do we start making payments? Are people already paying back some of these loans and assistance?
Well, for the EIDL loan, it's a 1-year deferment, so they don't start making payments until 1 year after they receive their loan funds. So it'll be a while unless they want to make the payments early on. That's fine. With PPP, they could begin doing that too. Another good thing that was changes made in the PPP is before it used to be that if you're going to ask for loan forgiveness on the PPP, there were several documents that you had to fill out, and it became so tedious for small businesses to put together, especially for a little mom and pop store or sole proprietor to put all the documentation together. So what Congress has done is that they streamlined the documentation and made it into a one-page document if you have a loan of $150,000 or below. So that way it's a one-page loan forgiveness process. And that's something that we're going to be working with the lenders to ensure that the streamlined process is done for loan forgiveness. So that way they can take a look at how much money they need to pay or not pay at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so for mom and pop stores, because I think when we had you on again months back, you made that call for these mom and pop stores that probably didn't think that they might have been eligible, that they are eligible, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and they are, and that's why I want to do this outreach today and encourage our small business community to start looking into what the needs are. Another concern they were looking at is they're saying, Ken, if we have to go in to get applied, do we use our 2020 numbers? Because obviously, with the pandemic, the numbers have gone down. Their cash flow hasn't been there. Their revenue streams haven't been there. So SBA has made the determination that we would look at your 2019 figures as opposed to 2020 figures. So that way we could look at what was considered to be realistic prior to the pandemic.
I had a comment.
Because if we were to utilize the 2020 numbers, then no one would qualify.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a text here from a small business owner. Please ask if there are new requirements for PPP, like businesses had to drop more than 25% in a quarter.
Yes, there would be. And that's what we're going through with the regulations. You can find the regulations. If anybody has the time to look at it, it's about 118 pages long. You can find it at SBA's website at sba.gov/PPP. That's one website you can go to, or you can visit the Treasury Department's website at treasury.gov/cares. Those are the two sites that are official sites that we use to download the current regulations as well as the guidelines that also should be looking at. So if anybody ever calls me up and asks me information, I'm going to go straight to those two websites and obtain the information that's relevant to them, then cite it to them. So, they can avail themselves to some reading time looking at the 118 pages that I have to do. Yeah.
All right,
Or call me up and we'll discuss it.
Okay, so if you are interested in the PPP or the EIDL for CARES Act 2, go to sba.gov/PPP or treasury.gov/cares and read up on the
Correct.
information, and then you can call SBA here on Guam for additional information. And what's the number there, Ken?
Yeah, they can call it 472-7419. That's our general line, or they can call me directly at 472-7277.
All right.
Right
Thanks a
on,
lot,
Ken. Thank you for your service, and keep us posted if there's any changes or anything that these businesses need to do on their end. Please don't hesitate to shoot me a message, and we'll get you right on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me the opportunity to share this information for the business community. I think it's really needed, especially we're in continuing pandemic crisis situation. So it's good that they have information as well as they have the ability to get the financing that they need to survive in this economy.
Amen.
So I appreciate you having me here, and I'll definitely, once I get updated information, I'll send it over to you folks.
Thank
All right.
God for the federal. Okay, Ken.
Guam.
Okay.
right, thank you,
Viva
guys.
Guam. Viva!
Stay safe.
Viva Guam, Sabrina.
Biba!
There you go. All right, 9:09. Let's keep it in the KUA News Zoom room where we have the Guam International Airport Authority Executive Manager, John Kanata. I asked Bree, what's he coming on?